Gyokeres finally goes. Will Scott be following soon? Leicester add another proven player. The Leeds loan exodus continues, and there's an emotional return at Cardiff. Here's the latest in the Championship transfer market. Let's start briefly then with that deal we all knew was happening, but it just needed confirming. Gyokeres to Sporting Lisbon through, and it should just be there as an example to the non-parachute teams. Coventry loaned him from the Premier League to get to know him, signed him permanently, 1.2 million euros, 17 goals season 1, 21 goals season 2, out he goes for 20 million euros. The other way of doing it, develop your own, and it feels like we're getting closer to one of their own, Alex Scott, going out of Bristol City, with Bournemouth and Wolves getting more serious. Given his age and that English player tax that always seems to apply, looks like that fee is going to go even higher than what was paid for Gyokeres. Of course, there is no guarantees that Coventry or Bristol City will spend their windfalls perfectly, but as someone who worries about the whole system and the uneven financial playing field, I do think this is a good thing for the Championship when these type of teams, non-parachute teams, get good fees in. With that being said, let's move on to said big boys, and Leicester have done it again. They've got another one in. It's another good one, and one the Coventry fans will know all about. It's Callum Doyle, who was on loan at the CBS last season from Manchester City. Same deal, Leicester have him on loan for the season. Even though he's only 19, this has got to really go in the no-brainer potential home run category, because Doyle played 46 times for Cov last season as they got to the playoff final. He is essentially already proven age 19 at Championship level. Leicester will be expecting playoffs at the very least. I'll always say it's never that simple, but all their business so far looks very viable for that to be the case. Quick word on fellow ex-Premier League side Leeds as well, where there's plenty of movement in terms of outgoings, maybe freeing up of wages, FFP headroom, etc., but not huge amounts coming in terms of fees. Rasmus Kristensen is the latest to go out on loan following Robin Koch, Brendan Aronson. Rodrigo has gone to Qatar, so there's a fee there to add to the Tyler Roberts money. Movement is all one way at the moment out of Ellen Road, but we may well expect some inbound stuff at Leeds, maybe next week or two, as opening day gets closer and closer. Here's a good news story for you then. Aaron Ramsey is back at Cardiff after leaving 15 years ago as a 17-year-old. Ramsey has gone on, obviously, to play hundreds of games. Arsenal, Juventus, he was part of that brilliant Wales Euro 2016 run to the semi-final. He was most recently at Nice in Ligue 1 and returns now as a 32-year-old. It's hard to disagree, it's a great story, but what will the output be on the pitch? Obviously, peak Aaron Ramsey would be a complete cheat code in the Championship, but look, none of us are expecting peak Aaron Ramsey. My take, I guess, is with some careful management of his fitness, maybe an extra body in midfield to do some running for him, he can definitely be a good influence if well managed. Also in at Cardiff, Karlan on loan from West Brom. Obviously not fancied at the Hawthorns or needed to get off the wage bill there, but he does have pedigree as a near 20 goal a season Championship striker with both West Brom and his previous side Huddersfield. He has got a good link-up, Grant, with Callum Robinson from his West Brom days. He's also at Cardiff. Can those two get things moving together down in Wales? Like Ramsey, again, we're a little bit in gamble mode, but that is the situation given Cardiff's current transfer issues. Now, I made a video the other day about the feel-good factor after the takeover at Birmingham City, and they've done even more business since then. Tahith Chong, who I'm a big fan of, has gone out to Luton up in the Premier League. He's been replaced at St Andrews with Siriki Dembele, and this is probably go time now for Dembele at Championship level. Great in League One for Peterborough. Of course, they struggled and ultimately went down in the Championship. He moved mid-season to Bournemouth in that mad January when the Cherries signed a hell of a lot of players to guarantee promotion and actually didn't end up featuring very many of them for very many minutes. He's now back and can be a main feature of a team that, if the feel-good factor continues, will be looking a bit higher up the table than in recent years. Another reason for that could be the arrival of Dion Sanderson on a permanent. He's had 2 loans at Blues before, including last season, so it makes all the sense in the world if he's finally leaving on a permanent to go back to St Andrews. That is 6 in now for Birmingham. Definitely the big movers so far this transfer window. Well, Keane has made the relatively short trip from Wigan to Preston on a permanent, having been there on loan about 7 or 8 years ago. Now, I really like Will Keane, but he's one of those what might have been players. Manchester United youngster, technically very good, but just couldn't put together any kind of run and fitness until really his sort of late 20s. He's been excellent at Wigan, scored loads of goals, and again, fitness permitting, he could be a decent striker at North End now as a 30-year-old. Final one for today then, a couple of interesting outs at Huddersfield. One is centre-back Will Boyle, who goes in at what we expect to be the big movers in League 2, Hollywood Wrexham. I wonder if we'll see a couple more dropping from the Championship and indeed League 1 to go down and play at Wrexham. Finally, Etienne Kamara out of Huddersfield to Udinese. This one interests me for 2 reasons. One, he'll probably pop up at Watford on loan at some point with the dual Pozzo ownership thing there. And 2, I was silly enough to put him in my young players to watch video. Now, I promise I did say this one was a gamble, and you can click here to see the evidence. Don't worry though, Chris Rigg at Sunderland, Romain Esse at Millwall are having lovely pre-seasons to give that particular video a little bit more credibility.